Did you have a good Easter? All right. So we've gone through our Good Friday, we've gone through our Palm Sunday, we've gone through our Easter service, and now it's time for us to actually become the best that we can, the principles of the Christ within our own hearts and within our lives. I want you to consider this morning like a little Sermon on the Mount. If you guys know the Sermon on the Mount, this is when Jesus gave the Beatitudes. He told people how to look at life, how to think differently, how to better embrace God, even in the midst of their trials. And so get your mind clear on that, and we'll just start. This is what I was given. It is hard to live the Christ when the Christ is not in me. And we know that Christ lives deep within, but sometimes do you feel it? Do you always feel it? When my internal landscape is barren, exhausted, empty, or upset. When my internal landscape is barren, exhausted, empty, or upset. We all go there. When my state of being is being strapped to earthly issues, it is impossible to be the light. It's impossible to be the light because we do not have the reservoir. We don't have the energy within to do what we know we need to do. We all know we need to be kind. We all know we need to be loving. We know what we need to do. We know what we need to do. We do not always have the wherewithal or the vibration to do it. So, our internal landscape reflects our external. To live the Christ, we must make space for the Christ inside. And I know you do your meditations. I know you do it every morning. I know you do it at night. You do your prayers. We meditate. We're in a good space. We get filled with light. We go out into the world and we still holler. We still get mad. We still think thoughts that are not as generous as they need to be. And it's like we get just enough to water us, but we need to take some further steps. So this is from Spirit to you, internal steps you can take to become a lush landscape, to become green and full and all that you want to be inside. The first thing that you need to do is to begin to see your goodness as a person. And they've given you 3 ideas to expand your goodness. You ready? Please feel free to take notes, or some of these points may resonate with you, some may not, but one will, okay? In order to see your goodness, do you guys actually know you're good? And are there moments when you don't feel like you're very good, or you feel like, ugh? All right. The first thing that Spirit said was, if you can actually start embracing your desires, because in order to embrace a desire, there has to be within you a belief that you are ready to expand and receive greater. When you don't feel good about yourself, guess what you do not do? You do not desire. Because in your mind, you don't deserve. In your mind, you start scorching yourself and you start going into that idea that I must suffer now, I've done something wrong, I'm rotten, whatever your mindset is. So Spirit is encouraging you to begin to embrace your desires, those good things that you want. The good things that you desire bring out the goodness in you. Have you ever looked at it that way? If I desire good, it helps me see myself as good. The path to our goodness can be found in the greater ability to receive. In Jesus Teacher Healer, I just wanted to share this thing. We know that Jesus told us to ask. Ask for what you want. He did not say ask for what you think God wants you to have. He said ask for what you want. You forget the spirit behind these words. Seek truth in all sincerity. Seek it in the quiet chambers of your own heart. Seek and you will find that contact with eternal love, the eternal power. Ask of that love, that power, and the supply is unfailing. Ask for what you want. Can you see the expansion in it? And can you feel that I can feel my own goodness when I do that? That's a simple step, right? The second step is to share your light. From the barren landscape, I know that sounds hard, but to begin to share your light. Share your light through simple encouragement of others. Doesn't mean you go out and be a hero. Doesn't mean you get on your white horse and go save the world. You encourage. You might help. You might help someone heal. You might offer a love, a hug, a touch. When Jesus told Peter, feed my sheep, we talked about last week, he was saying, instill faith in my friends, instill faith in my people. Sharing your light simply by saying you can do this to someone else. How powerful is that for them? It's a gift for them. Even when you're not flourishing so much inside, we can at least do that. And when you say to someone, God's got you, you can do this, something happens inside you. You feel your spirit. You feel your goodness. You feel your light, right? As I give my light, I give everyone permission to share theirs. Truthfully. And even if it's just a little bit, I only got a little bit left. If I give what I've got, just shine it, just shine it. I'm not giving it away, I'm just shining it. I give everyone permission to shine theirs back. So it was share our light, shine our light. Second step, to know our goodness. Doesn't it make you feel good when you've touched someone? All right. As I give my light, I get to see my light. Two easy ones, right? The third one is to let ourselves expand in our minds. Jesus said to James, do you love Holy Spirit, the teacher, with all your heart and soul? Then protect my sheep. Knowledge, wisdom, truth. Expand your mind so that it can embrace new opportunities. Don't you love to study? Don't you love to pick up something spiritual and read it? And your mind expands and it feels fabulous. As we expand our thoughts, we expand our ability to create, we expand our perceptions of self. The Christ in us can move into that divine mind and connect with that great spiritual purpose that we have. Just by expanding our brains, by thinking outer, bigger, better than we have in the past. Easy? Think about what you do to R&R. What do you read? Expansion or contraction? What do you watch? Expansion or contraction? It's very simple. There's no good or bad. Is it expanding you or is it contracting you? Fear-based things will contract. Is it a challenge? Is it easy? I have a client who, with her permission, I share her story with you. Her name shall be withheld from the record. But I have a client who's allowed me to share this, and I wanted to give this to you because I think if you see it, I think you'll understand it. So Miss Kristen is going to help me out. So Kristen, if you'll come up. So I have a client, and she is a beautiful woman, and her whole thing in her world, from the time she was little, she wanted to be a mother. She said, I felt that was my calling. I loved children. I just wanted to be a mother. So she married very young, and so she let that beautiful energy of God letting her be a mama move through her, all over her. It was fabulous. It came through her heart. So she was a fabulous mother, and her children grew up, and she was in an unhappy marriage, but that didn't matter because she got to be the mom. So her children grew up, and they were mature, and all of a sudden, she decided she would free herself, and she got a divorce. Children have their own lives. She got a divorce from an unhappy marriage, and she was happy. She got a job, and guess what she started doing? Mothering all the younger people at her job. She just mothered everybody. She let the beautiful mother energy come all around her, and it was fabulous. And then she said, I think I want to date. And every man that she drew to her had children. And she said, oh no, I don't want to raise somebody else's kids. I don't want to do this again. It kept her caught in a very bad situation. She stayed in an unhappy marriage because of the children. She did not want to do that again. So this is what she did. She gathered all her gifts from God about nurturing children, and she threw them in a box. And the box is no kids. All of the beautiful natural ability that she had. I should put a lid on it. Now, there were going to be no kids in her future, no kids in anybody else she was going to date. No, ma'am, she's not doing kids. But then she got very unhappy because the natural gift that she had within herself was now put in a box. And it was labeled, and she couldn't access it anymore. A piece of who she was, a piece of her natural energy was now set aside and put on a shelf. Do you hear what I'm saying? Her spirit was being denied. And we started speaking about it, and it was, and the Spirit was very kind and said, why don't you allow God to change your nurturing abilities to something other than children? Could you perhaps nurture yourself? And she said, but that would be selfish. But that would be selfish if I nurtured myself. So Spirit gave her the assignment, do a work on what is self-love and what is selfish and what's the difference. It's all choices. If she has the ability to nurture herself into a new vibration, she can become the child of God she is meant to be. So she opened up her box and she put it back on her field so she could begin to nurture and use the abilities and talents in a new way that were not restrictive. You understand? So she began to be a magnet for dates. People without children. So thank you for showing us. Now, I hope you never forget this. I hope you see the little box in your brain, and I hope you realize you have so many boxes. So many great abilities within you that you have put in a box and said something about it. And this is how you can find what you've done. What are your stories? What stories do you tell yourself? What stories do you say about yourself? What stories do you say about yourself over and over and over again? Every time there is a story you share about yourself, you can guarantee yourself there's a box in your closet somewhere. And it's wrapped with a thought that says whatever that story is. But it's clamping your energy down. Is everybody with me on this? All right. I wanted to share one tiny little story, Cindy's story, that is interesting. Hopefully it will help you. I'm in kindergarten. I was in kindergarten. I was 5 years old, kindergarten. I had, daydreaming a little bit. I had this thought that I was in school, because I was going to kindergarten, but I was home. I had this thought that I went to school and they asked us to draw a horse. And I drew the best horse in the world, and I could see it. It was beautiful. It was so good. And I was so happy with myself. I went to school the next day, and guess what? They asked us to draw a horse. I went into shock. They'd never asked us to draw a horse before, but it was the very vision I had. I went into shock. I had my teeny little hand, and my teeny little hand could not draw the vision I saw. I failed. I absolutely failed in producing the vision my little mind saw the day before. So I put all of my art ability in a box, and I said, I failed art in kindergarten. And I said that this weekend. I said that to someone this weekend. I failed art in kindergarten. The box that had the potential for creativity and for art got locked up when I was 5 years old. Now, the concept of having an idea that was premonition did not get lost on me. I said, holy crap, I better watch what I think. I was 5 years old. So I learned part of it, but not all of it. And I was working this morning. Spirit wanted me to share that story, and then they reminded me of this, and they wanted me to share this with you as well. When we were in Salt Lake City, I lived there for 1 year. I was in 9th grade. And I was in home ec, and they asked you to do a home project in home ec. Well, I said, what kind of home project? They said, oh, knit something. I didn't know how to knit. And so I went and had somebody show me a knitting stitch. So I started knitting because I had to do this project. I started knitting. Do you know what? They don't teach you how to stop knitting. I had something, no kidding, that was over 3 feet long by the end of the quarter. And I didn't know how to stop it. You know, and there was no YouTube, there's no internet. I couldn't even get to a library. I didn't know how to stop it. My mom didn't knit. And so my mom goes, well, take what you've got. And I go, I can't take that in. And so I just wrapped it up and worked on it periodically for years to come. Never knew how to close it. But I went to school and I got an F. I took my F. I took it. Yeah, I did. Nothing else I could do. The thought did not occur to me until this morning. Spirit said, Cindy, do you realize virtually every day you went to school in Salt Lake City, you wore a dress that you made? And I did not make those clothes because I was creative. I made them because I wanted clothes. It was the poor year of my life. And Spirit said to me, you know, you could have said, I made this whole outfit. Will that count? But my art had been locked up. My creativity had been locked up at 5 years old. The dots didn't connect. Even in the next quarter, the next semester, they were teaching us how to make little outfits. And so I was sewing in school. The teacher came by and she said to me, oh my God, that's a great zipper. I went, this is not my first zipper. I made what I'm wearing. And she was shocked, but I already had my F. So, but do you see how the thought of creativity at 5 is just now opening today? Look out, guys. I don't know what's going to happen. We never know. But I want you to hear how your brains do not even access what you have once you've locked it down. There's just no cross-referencing. So what we can do is intercede by saying, show me all of the gifts, talents, and abilities that I have, Father, and show me how to unlock them. Let your light shine through my mind. Yes, I want to expand my mind with new thoughts and new ideas. Let me go back and find the gifts that might be on a box somewhere in me. Show me how to expand my mind so I can claim who I am. You guys with me? All right. So letting ourselves expand. Okay, then the last thing that they want you to know is this. We have to learn to include God in our creations. If you include God in your creations, they are more sustainable. Okay, so I wanted to share this. All children build sandcastles of one sort or another. This is good because it gives them a way of examining their expectations about reality before taking the plunge. So building things, checking them out, rebuilding, good. The mistake comes in expecting to live in the sandcastle. The adversity arises through the misconceiving God's relationship to you and your castle. The sandcastle was yours alone. It is sheer human folly to build a sandcastle and expect God to make it real or to salvage it when the tides wash it away. Your covenant with God is in regard to sustainable reality. The great thief and heartbreaker is illusion, for it has given man the false idea that God does not care about the human condition. The best way to create something you want to sustain is with God. Build your sandcastles, but know they're sandcastles. Know they're sandcastles. It's going to get washed away, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Have you ever seen a child build things? You know what they love? Knocking it down. Knocking it down. They barely can let it stand before we got to knock that sucker down and build another one. It's very entertaining because they're playing. They're experimenting. We get to build sandcastles. We get to build things. But when it's time to sustain, this is when we must allow the energy of God to start moving through us. Self-care, self-awareness. To Christ, we have to have those qualities moving through us. Self-love, self-care, self-awareness. Imagine telling your child that they could not eat until every person in the world had been fed. Yet you tell yourself that. Put everybody else in front of you. If I eat, I'm giving everybody permission to eat. If I sustain and feed myself, I'm giving everybody permission to do that, and sustenance will flow to them. If I deny me, I'm denying the world. Self-care is how we live. It's how we live. If we cannot see our goodness and our love, we will never move into that space of being and expressing the Christ. Because what is Christ? Love. Christ is love. Now, everyone in this room and everyone who hears my voice will say to me, I love myself pretty good. Okay. Look at the unpretty good part. Look at the rest. What are you denying yourself? Because I guarantee you, everything you're denying yourself, you're overcompensating for in another area. And we're out of balance. We walk around out of balance. You draw to yourself the conditions that you think about. If you dwell on thoughts of sickness or limitation, poverty or fear, you're setting up a vibration that's attracting those conditions. So you get to experience them. Maybe not yourself, but in your family, whatever your relationship is with it. Train yourselves instead to set up a vibration of love, light, hope, confidence, peace, knowing that God, your Father, is all-wise, all-loving, and His will for you is that you should create the kingdom of heaven. When you pray, say, Our Father. And you realize the Lord's Prayer that Jesus left us with, we're talking to God. The whole prayer is about our relationship with God. The whole prayer is us talking about our relationship with God. It's not for the world. It's for us. Pray like this. Get fed. Bring me my daily bread. Forgive me the things I can't do. Help me stay on the path of love. I honor you. I'm connected with you. You see? That's the prayer that fills us up. The idea that you and God are inseparable and you keep your goodness from you. Just by allowing the thought of God is good and I am good, to be self-fulfilled allows you to express yourself. And when you express your true self, you will be living the Christ every moment. That is the Christ, expressing your true self. So, see our goodness. Recap. Ready? See our goodness. Let your good desires reflect the goodness. I'm ready to receive. I am so happy. I'm in a goodness. I'm in a good state of mind. I'm in a good consciousness. I'm ready. See your goodness. Receive. Share your light gently. Don't give your light. Share your light. Share your light. Any healers in here? Do you remember the first time you learned? You tried to force it, didn't you? You tried to put your hands out and use your own energy. But that's not how healing works. You let God light flow through you, and it's effortless. So we share our light. We let the God light flow. We don't give what we are. We share the light within. Expand our thoughts. Get God in our wisdom. Get God in our creations. And listen, guys, I'm going to tell you what you already know. You know when you're hungry. You know when your spirit's starving. You know when your brain's starving. You know when you're hungry. And you know if you don't feed yourself what you will do. Most of us hunker down and say, oh, I can't take it anymore. And we'll either go into depression or we'll isolate or we'll go into something that is not expansive. We'll go into contraction. We'll go into something that makes us smaller instead of expanding. When you are hungry, feed yourself. Just say to your partner, say to whoever's with you, I got to go get some spirit inside me now. I got to go take care of me. Give yourself permission to step away from the activity of your world. You have to. You have to. We can do our morning meditation, but sometimes you need to step away again and again just to sustain you through the day. And at the end of the day, when you can breathe, and you can be tired, but when you can feel, God, I am good. I did good today. I might have tripped, might have made somebody laugh because I was being interesting, but I am good. And I'm your child, and you got me. This is being the Christ every day. And through you, as the Christ every day, you can be used in the beautiful talents and abilities that you brought down. If you're a nurturer, if you're creative in any way, you can be used to bless the world through those natural talents, abilities that are in you. If you sing, it can be used. So easy, isn't it? All right, let's go within. Let's anchor this. Your Sermon on the Mount. Let's just breathe. God, we feel your love. We feel your love in this room. And we ask to be receptive vessels. And I would invite you guys just to take a breath, and just begin to open to feel that love of God pouring into you. You are my beloved child. You are my beloved child. Allow your focus to go to your heart. And just allow that heart center to begin to open. Feel the peace. And begin to feel just a love vibration in you. Begin to feel that you are ready to know yourself. You're ready to be. And let the light continue to flow. And just let a peace begin to move. Father, I ask that you stay with each one who hears my words. I ask that they feel that comfort and guidance as you surround them now. That they know they are good. They are good. And in knowing, they are always connected with you. Feel your love for God, your love for Father, Mother. Feel your love for Jesus Christ, always showing us the way. And feel your love for self. Now I want you to take a breath, and I want you to send love to the internal landscape of your being. Just send love to the internal landscape and imagine that your internal landscape is lush. Let it be whatever it needs to be for you, but imagine that inside me, I now flourish. My landscape is full, and there are beautiful things, beautiful energies. Maybe a waterfall, maybe a beautiful meadow, whatever you see is perfect for you. Father, Mother God, I am ready to grow. Fill me to overflowing. And I am so grateful. Breathe and send your lushness out into your world. Let your awareness come back to the chair that holds you. You are God's child. We thank you, Father. And so it is. Breathe, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I hope your world exploded. Did anyone get a beautiful landscape? You might want to incorporate that in your meditations just to see the internal landscape. Water it. Love it. Say, yay, God. Yay, God.